All right, welcome everybody. We are on Facebook Live together with the Becker Vineyard family here today. So we've got our light summer favorites tonight, week 66. So we've got a beautiful lineup with our favorite people here. We've got Dr. Richard Becker here. We've got son Joseph Becker. And then we have our wonderful winemaker, Jon Leahy. We have Kaylyn Hall right here with us, and then myself, Bobby Totten, and we're going to go through a beautiful lineup. So we're going to start with our, go through our 2017 Saigne to our 2018 Dolcetto, and then finish with the beautiful 2015 Dolcetto, which is just tasting fabulous tonight. So I'm going to hand it off to y'all gentlemen, and have some wonderful time drinking some beautiful wines.
Thank you, Bobby, for another wonderful introduction. I got to tell everybody up front before I ask Doc and the doctors Becker, could we refer to them like the bee since they're of the hive? Before I turn it over and get fired, I wanted to mention the fact that you're going to have to pick food for these pairings, just so everybody knows up front. It's kind of a twist. I know we haven't done that before. So Joe, would you like to lead us in with a few words?
Sure. I think on a serious note, as always, I feel that wine tastes the best when you're with people you love. And I feel that in the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of medical emergencies amongst various members of our family, people we work with, and that we are thinking about those people and that they know who they are, and that we always take this moment to, while we think about that there's still, we're almost there. Unfortunately, we have this horrid Delta variant of coronavirus that seems to be rearing its ugly head in our neck of the woods. But we still have a lot of brave souls out there fighting it, dealing with it. As I always say, teaching our kids. And so this is a moment every week that I look forward to that gives me a moment away from all of that, a moment to be with people I love. And these are wines that I love. And I was actually on a lighter note, a moment ago, just this will lead in a little bit, but a moment ago, I was actually outside skimming the pool and swimming with my assistant director, Nicholas, who's about to turn 4 in a couple of weeks. And I was actually having a little bit of Saigne. And I said, Nicholas, I love doing this. I'm doing something I love, which is swimming. I'm with someone I love, which is you. And this makes this glass taste wonderful. And he said, well, can I have a finger? And I said, sure, why not? And he said, this is wonderful. So I think this is a delightful summer wine. And I hope that we can continue to share these moments with all of our winery family and our family.
Very well said. That is perfect. I love the fact that Nicholas got a finger in the wine. Doc, do you have anything to add to that?
I endorse every word.
So I want to start with the Saigne, but I want to shout out to a few people first that we have got some pretty loyal followers here. First of all, Charles, it's wonderful to see you every week, and I don't give you nearly as much, nearly enough of a hard time as I should. And I absolutely love Susan from Kansas City. She signs on. She's one of the first people to sign on every week. So cheers to you guys. And of course, everybody else that's joining us today. And Debbie, absolutely to you too. So thanks for keeping us going. This is kind of fun. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a wine club event, and a lot of these folks showed up for it, which was awesome. And and I begged them not to hold it over my head that they knew more about my bad habits. But I want to lead right into this Saigne. And Kaylyn, you have to give us the description for the first off this week. I know. And you know why, don't you?
Why?
Because I haven't been able to give you a hard time today. I didn't see you hardly at all. So that's what happens.
Because I was working, John.
So what do you think?
So on this wine, on the nose. I do get bright red fruit. I can't quite nail down if I want to put it into like a raspberry category or maybe a cranberry category, but there's certainly some florals on the nose that are super pleasant that carry through on the palate. So I think as this wine's been in bottle and it's kind of maturing a bit, I'm picking up like hints of almost like rose petal, maybe some violet, things of that nature. I still get really lovely fruit on the palate, but I think some of the floral components are shining through a bit more than when it was first bottled, and I think it's absolutely lovely.
Fantastic. I love the fact that the 2EG is coming through, which is my snooty way of saying rose petal. I do want to invite everybody out there that's watching us, especially Sam and your group in San Antonio. So I met this group of friends from San Antonio at the Wine Club event, and they have been following us since week 1. It has expanded. There's a group of 5 of them, delightful folks, all of them. But I feel very, very bad because the one lady who originally is not from Ireland, and I said, "Oh, is that an Irish accent?" And I don't think she got my sense of humor. She's British. Apologies to you. But anyway, I just thought it would be fun to be an American for 30 seconds. Anyway, Joe, what do you think of the Saigne?
Gosh, so I opened it. I opened all these wines around 3:30, and you don't have to do this, but I got the Saigne very cold. I actually let it sit in my freezer for a little bit, and then I let it warm up a little bit for the tasting. But it's delightful. I mean, it's rich. It's I think rose petals are a very apt descriptor. I think the color is so, it's such a beautiful color, and the aroma. I mean, everything. This is, as we say, this is an amazing by the pool wine. This is a great wine to be sitting out sipping on a hot summer's day. Exactly what I was doing earlier. So I think it's lovely.
Okay, Doc, you're up on the Saigne.
Again, amazing richness, John. It's almost like like one of the more delicate varietals from the Rhone, Counois or Cinsault, with less color extraction than you might get with a red grape by itself. I'm sorry, I'm hoarse, and but just amazing. This wine would be good with spicy dishes. Pardon me, and. So I think it's beautiful, and it's not my style. I like the very faint, delicate rosés, which you're not sure if they're pink or white. Salmon, the French make, but this one I love as much as any of those. It's just a different wine. It's a wonderful wine.
And I think, Dad, let me just say one thing, John. I remember, John, I think I've told this story before, but I remember when you first approached me with this blend. We were down in the library, and you had done the Saigne process for a number of our reds, which, to remind our listeners out there, that Saigne is the process by which John takes some of the juice off of the newly harvested red grapes to get more extraction, more color, more concentration, and then we can take what we extract and Saigne means to bleed, so we're literally bleeding it off. And I remember we were skeptical. I remember feeling some skepticism about this blend, but it has year after year, and it's been very rich because, indeed, as Dad said, our classic rosé blend has been our Provençal, which is
right.
The Domaine Tempier, the Rhone style. But this has just been so bright, so beautiful for so many years.
It really has. It's amazing how long it's lasted in bottle. But it's a great wine. And you're right. I really do think it's more of a rosso. We've experimented with styles. And sure. Doc, just so you know, we do have a couple of the very light Salmon coming out soon.
And I love it.
Yeah, the 19 Jolie, which we just just got into bottle. We stabilized and got into bottle. So, and I want everybody to know why Doc is hoarse too, because he is a great supporter of roller derby, and he gets really involved in it. We've been trying to tell him he can no longer get out on the roller derby course himself, but he hasn't been listening very well. So
Yeah. Secrets out.
Yeah,
Okay.
secrets out, Dr. Becker. So, Bobby, do you have anything to add, sir? I have not called upon you, and I feel kind of bad, but
Oh no, not at all. No, I mean this is so great. I mean the jamminess that comes through is just it's amazing. Just the fruit, the richness, the cherries, the raspberries, cranberries, a little bit of thyme in there, just kind of showcases a little bit. And then, those tannins kind of sneak up on you too. So I really enjoy those tannins that just kind of showcase through the time that's spent on the skins.
yeah, which wasn't very much. I mean, we got a lot of this color within 4 to 6 hours of harvest. Well, in all fairness, within 6 to 8 hours of harvest, I should
Right.
say, 4 to 6 hours.
One thing I want to say about this is that this is so good, it almost doesn't taste like wine. I mean, usually when you have a rosé or something like that, it always has something sticking out. It's acidic, or it's a little angular, or it's not rich enough. This is it's like an elixir. It's so good. It's just good.
Yeah, mine smells a lot.
Oh, jeez.
You took that to the roller derby, I'm sure. But
So just in case you're wondering, that was a ploy to get me kicked off of this video for a few weeks, but apparently it didn't work. So we're being joined and comments from a lot of longtime supporters, and I just want to actually give Angela an applause for joining us back. She's been absent for a little while. So Angela from San Antonio, thank you for joining us again. So
Hello, Angela.
yeah, exactly. Hey, I wonder, can we embarrass some of our viewers if we call them? So guys, if you do have any questions, seriously, please feel free to ask. I'm trying to monitor the comments. I know Kaylyn's on it, so we will get to your questions as quickly as we possibly can. But if there are no other comments about the Saigne, and as good as it is wonderful.
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to getting into the Dolcettos.
So we had Susan Hanks asking about the blend.
Oh, well, certainly, Susan. There are 17 wines in this blend. Now, there in this particular vintage, I think there are 12 total wines. We have got a little bit of everything. There's not a super dominant varietal. I think the largest varietal is 12 or 14%, I think, 14 or 16. That's the Tempranillo. Everything else is almost equal, but there's a little bit of Dolcetto in there. There's a little bit of Cabernet, certainly the Tempranillo. There is a little bit of Grenache, some So, Zinfandel. I kind of equally bled from these tanks. These are the varietals that I really wanted to increase the richness in the red wine portion of it. So
Right.
Saigne, by bleeding off that juice, we increase the skin to juice ratio in that tank, and everything you want in a red wine comes from that skin. All of those beautiful flavors, those floral notes, the fruit notes, those brilliant phenolics all come from the skin. And so that's what we want to really extract from. By taking some of that juice away, we enable a heavier extraction. It's a nice little trick. It certainly leaves you with juice. Sometimes that juice just goes down the drain, depending on the winery. And sometimes if you're an obsessive compulsive, like I am at times about grape juice, it all goes into a tank and ferments. So
There you go.
and occasionally it comes out very well. So,
Like right
hey,
here.
being joined by.
Come on, no, at the back. Just want everybody to say hello.
Hey guys.
You didn't lie. You were actually on the broadcast there, buddy.
He is. All right. Love you. Thanks for saying hi. You too, Pooch.
Awesome.
All right, let's take this back down. Take that. All right.
John, it's worth remembering that in the history of the Texas wine industry, I know this is to be a fact, maybe 30 or 40 years ago, so nobody will have to go to jail. Speaking of, one of the tanks leaked one night in the Cabernet.
Mhm.
In the tank room, there was a little depression in the area where the tanks were, but not drains. And so all the wine was about a foot deep in a fairly large area that had leaked out of the tank. And so, being good winemakers, they just pumped it back in the tank, and ultimately, I'm sure they filtered it carefully and bottled it, and it won medals in San Francisco. I can't tell you who it was. I could, but I'm not going to. But it was called Chateau Lafite, and that's Saigne, my opinion, in Texas.
Well,
Nice.
that's borderline on another technique, the delistage technique that you use in red wine making.
Yeah.
Where halfway through or a third of the way through sugar drop, you take all of the juice away from the skins into a pre-warmed tank. You get it all out, and then the idea is to remove as much of the seed matter on the bottom of the tank as possible. So you get rid of the bitter phenolics, and then you pump that juice back over the tank, over the top of the skins. You do that once a day, 2 different times during the ferment. You've removed most of those bitter phenolics from the seeds, and you get a really nice extraction. So maybe that was the technique they were trying for. And concrete tanks have come into big popularity lately.
John, I have to leave for just a second, but the ducks behind me know all about the 1593 ordinance, but I'll be right back.
And on that note, let's talk about Dolcetto. That's a great segue.
Well, before
Yes.
we go on, I would just like to say that a la Stephen Colbert, my wife Emily is sitting off camera like Eve Colbert, except I can't get her to laugh at any of my jokes. So
Really?
if anybody, yeah,
Oh,
I got to try harder.
Yo, I have special gummy bears that'll make her laugh.
I've heard of those.
So my special gummy bears are Harborough. So, all right.
Oh.
So shall we start with the,
My favorites.
yeah.
You want one of the reds?
Is that, and if you have it, please pour it and enjoy a glass. These Dolcettos are a treat.
This is a gorgeous color.
Yeah, it is. You know, Jet Wilmuth, of course, is the grower of this. And I can never say enough nice things about Jet, especially when he's not around and he can't hold it against me. But
Right.
absolutely a fantastic man to deal with. Okay. Let's see. I've got to catch up on some of these.
So I think while you're doing that, John, I wanted to say something that I should have meant to say at the beginning of the show, but I think I wanted to introduce, everybody knows Bobby Totten, but Bobby Totten is our new wine club director.
Mhm.
So he's everybody, I think Bobby, you're so well known to everyone as friendly, hardworking, knowledgeable, great person. So I think for we appreciate the job that Rebecca did, and but I think going forward, people that are in our wine club, people that are looking to join our wine club, this is the face, and I think you're going to have an absolutely wonderful person to interact with going forward. But congratulations, Bobby, and
Congratulations.
just want to say that.
Thank you very much. No, it's a really an honor to work with the Becker family and the Becker team here. Really appreciate it, and it's very humbling to be a part of something that has such a legacy here, and to be able to cause more success to come in the future for Becker Vineyards. So I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you, Joe.
Sure.
Okay, there was a question on here just a second ago. Let's see. It was somebody being a rather smart aleck about doing a lesson about pouring from a bottle into a graduated cylinder in our next blending session and not getting it on your lap. So in order to demonstrate that, I'm going to grab a random bottle here. Here we go.
Not Jameson.
No. No.
The viscosity of Jameson would make that tough.
So here's a graduated cylinder. Here's your bottle. You pour it in there all the way in until you reach your designated amount. And then you take it off. Everything's in the bottle and not in your lap. How's that for a thing?
Beautiful.
Don't worry, it's not Jameson. It's just Woodford Reserve.
Okay.
So,
John, you're really trying hard to get out of these wine tastings, I think. No, I'm kidding.
Not a sponsor. We just say not a sponsor.
just not a sponsor. No, they are not, but they're very nice folks. Yeah. Anyway, that's how you do it, Eric. Just so you know, that's how you pour out of a wine bottle into a graduated cylinder. I am sure I'm going to get hate mail over that one. We had very, very full bottles that were tippy top full, and quite a few people when they opened them, because those bottles, when they're filled for a blending session, were filled in the cellar at cellar temperature, so 55 degrees. They went over to the lavender house, which is at about 68 to 70 degrees, so they expanded. So when you pop the tops, they spurted out. So that was so Gary, yes, it's the only talent I have, buddy. It's an amazing talent. All right, back to the serious issue of wine. So what did you call it, Doc? The rules of 1577. I'm sorry, what year did you graduate?
Or his driver's license.
I had trouble graduating. St. Tuesday, September 21st, 1593.
Yes.
And that it was included in Dogliani in Italy. That's the day in which the Dolcetto, the little sweet one, will be harvested, period. No matter what else happens with weather or rain or drought or satyrs or whoever comes through. And I think they would be happy with this because I know this was harvested on September 21st. It's on the bottle. And I'm proud of you for doing that.
Well, thank you. I think I've been sucked into a shim sham here.
At least yeah.
Oh no, this 18 is brilliant. So we've got to talk about the fruit. So what are you getting on the nose, Dr. Becker?
Well, again, this is a very mature taste for a Dolcetto. It's and so it has tannin, it has herbal notes, and it has beautiful fruit that kind of rides through it all. And maybe it's amazing. A little bit of apple, a little bit of cranberry. It's a funny combination. It's just rich. I have to keep telling you how much I'm in love with our wines. I'll try to do something more interpretive, but this is beautiful, John. Wow.
Thank you. Yeah. I think the 18 is very well balanced. I really do. So Kaylyn, I love the way you describe things. So what are you getting on the nose and in the palate?
Well, on the nose, there's something that it's a spice of some sort. I have difficulty nailing down all this, but it reminds me almost of something from barbecue. Like it's very savory, almost got some salinity to it.
Good point. Yeah, savory is. Yeah.
But on the palate, there's something that for me is very reminiscent of almost like blackberry cobbler or something along those lines. It's rich, delicate fruit. And definitely I'm still getting some of that spice component and some herbaceousness that to me reminds me of some type of dried herb, maybe on the tea edge, but it's beautiful.
Good. You know what, Kaylyn, I think when you're done with your accounting degree, I think you need to go and sit for your WSETs 1, 2, and 3 and become a sommelier.
I mean, Bobby and I both have the level 1 from the Court of Master Sommeliers, but I do want to go a little bit further.
Well, you
get
should.
a few more pieces of paper.
And you've got 2 really good Court of Master Sommeliers within easy reach, one of which is a really good friend of the winery, and I think you should do it. So the world can always use a good song.
Right.
Totally.
Okay,
Yeah.
Bobby, you're up next.
So I'm definitely getting some of the spice. I'm kind of almost getting like a Chinese spice. So some like clove or some like the some anise. The blueberries, definitely some of that black tea, what Kaylyn was noting, some of that herbal tea characteristic to it. On that palate as well. I mean, just the dark cherries, not like a bright cherry, but like dark cherries. Definitely getting some of that blueberry. Some of that 5-spice kind of lingering on the back, along with some dark chocolate.
Thank you for saying 5-spice. You're absolutely right. There's cardamom in here.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But there's something on the edge that I cannot identify. It's on the back of my, just like.
I know.
I think
Yeah.
Kaylyn nailed it. I think it's a savory note that you wouldn't expect. Yeah.
There it is. Yes.
So
There's a distinct. Yeah.
does
Go ahead.
anybody, I mean, there's almost a little bit of light smokiness on the nose. And the other interesting note I feel like I get on the palate that you taste sometime in Dolcetto is just a little hint of licorice. Kind of on the front palate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely.
Yeah, the licorice, for sure. But there's also there's an herbal note that's right on the tip of my tongue. It's driving me crazy, but I've got a Swiss cheese brain today.
I mean, this is, go ahead, John, I'm sorry.
No, I was being a smart aleck.
No, I mean, this is, I feel like this is Dolcetto with a twist of jet, you know, it's the dark fruit notes, you know, combined with this, you know, quote unquote, little sweet one, as Dolcetto is known, is just a really interesting combination.
Yeah. It's a beautiful wine. This 18 is opening up beautifully.
I think what would be written of Dolcetto 20 years from now is that the two principal growing regions are Italy and Tokyo. And that's
Yes.
Tokyo.
who'd have thought out of Tokyo, Tokyo, Texas, you know, an early settler spell. And anyway, it's a nice connection.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add to this? Did everybody have a chance to talk about it?
How much do we have left?
Yes.
I am glad you asked, because that I can answer. On the 18, let me pull up this handy dandy app. And I did, believe it or not, run into Rachel today at the winery. Yeah. So let's see here. We've got about 410 cases left of the 18.
That's good to have in the cellar, boy. Wow.
Yes.
410
Oh,
order them tonight.
Yes. Yeah.
We can sell some of it now, though, right?
Yeah.
10 cases, 400 are going down the cellar.
They're into the cellar. Okay. I'm not seeing any. Do you guys have any questions? Did I miss anything here? Okay. So everybody's congratulating you, Bobby.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
So
I agree with
When you stepped away, Dad, I mentioned that he was our wine club director now.
Yes, it is. And what a treat.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's wonderful for us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a treat to be with you guys.
And Kaylyn's was
say that now. Wait till after the next one.
Kaylyn has been promoted to Supreme Allied Commander.
Yeah.
So
I like that title. Can I put that on my business card?
Oh, absolutely.
No, you're.
Can we start calling her Ike?
I'll take it.
I like that.
You know, our art. You know, the artist that did our labels, Tony Bell, was famous for putting as his occupation on his tax returns, wizard. And so, Kaylyn, I was thinking you could do occupation Supreme Allied Commander. You'd be the second in United States history.
There you go.
That would be good. I'm sure that the government would be happy to hear it.
Hey,
Yes.
Kaylyn, just remember, you always shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll end up in the stars anyway. So
There we go.
exactly. All right, on to the 15 Dolcetto.
Oh my. Woo.
So this was our first vintage of Dolcetto.
Wow.
And this story of how this came to be will live in infamy.
Yep.
In-
One more time. So apparently Jet called Brett and John about his 20 tons of Dolcetto, and both said they didn't think so. So he then called me, and I said, I think it's a great idea. So here it is. And but I just had a feeling but there was something about that call in that moment that this could be this somehow I thought this could be really good, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, and imagine my surprise when the truck opened up and there wasn't Merlot, it was Dolcetto.
Surprise.
Surprise! These berries are huge.
Don't make me cough, John.
Yeah, they were the biggest Merlot berries I've ever seen in my life.
Well, a new addition to the Becker lineup.
Absolutely.
Right.
And couldn't ask for a better year on 15 too. I mean, 15 was a pretty damn good year overall. We look back, 12 was a great year. 13, of course, had its issues, fruit being one of them. 14 was a year back on the upslope, but we had 14, 15, 16, and 17. 17, the penultimate year in the last decade, if not the last 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
The weather program. And then 18 and 19 were good follow-ups. 20, we took a dip because of weather. And 21, we're on the uprise. So this is the fun part about winemaking over a decade or over multiple decades, is that not every year is going to be the absolute penultimate, but every year has the potential for being that. So it's psyched up for the big game, and you do what you can. Mother Nature will throw you a curveball every once in a while, but this 15, there was nothing wrong with this fruit when it arrived. It was as close to perfect as you could possibly expect. And so to me, my hat's off to Jet, great grower, and this fruit proves it. So our biggest job was not messing up those diamonds when they came in. Fine.
John, this has a kind of an aging, mature finish.
Yeah, it's almost, I would say, like there's a hint of ripened cheese on the edge there. It's a little reductive in the bottle. It needs some air. This wine needs to be decanted for sure. Mine's only been in the bottle, in the glass for about 45, 50 minutes now. So I got a late start this afternoon with decant. It's starting to blow off that reductiveness, that oxygen's helping to open up. But yeah, you're right, Doc. It's got that cellar-esque maturity to it.
And I think Andrew Chalyshev said this, but he said that all great wines, as they age, sort of grow together. And wonderful aged Bordeaux and Burgundy and Rhone with time, with our grow together. And I think it would be hard for me, John, and I'm not a sommelier, but if you had to be this glass to say this is Dolcetto, I don't identify this as Dolcetto. It's somehow different. I mean, talk about that, John. Tell me what you're thinking. And
well, when we got this fruit, it was extraordinarily ripe, first of all, and Jet was right. He was worried. So the backstory to that was he had a tentative contract on the fruit that fell through at the last minute, and he offered it to us. Brett actually called me and said, do you think we could use it? And I was like, I'm not sure. We're not an Italian house. I said, I certainly can make it, I've dealt with some Italian varietals, but for our program, I don't, initially it was 10 tons. That was the extra. But I called you, it turned into a truckload or 20 tons because he had his contract drop. So the truckload was then, to be honest with you, is much easier to deal with at our winery than a half a truck. Just that it takes a 20-ton fermenter, which we have. It's an ideal fit, and it gives us some fruit to play with. So by the time we got there, I was like, okay, last time I dealt with Dolcetto, Nebbiolo, I've been dealing with. Last time I dealt with Dolcetto, let's go back to 1998. That was the last time. So
the bottle had straw around it, John. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, every grape I've ever fermented for every winery that I've ever worked with, I have an index card for. So I'm able, if I can't remember, I at least have written it down somewhere. And I have written snarky notes to myself in the future, which I find disconcerting. But the Dolcetto came in, and it just, you're right, Doc, it had the characteristic. It had some of those bright cherry-esque edges, but it was displaying a maturity that was begging to come out. So we just let the grape take care of itself. We did not Saigne this grape very much at all. We took a very little bit of juice off of there. More or less, it was just to even it out. You know, it was a larger skin, but all of those skins were fully ripe. We had less than 5% pink berry in the overall product, which to me means that all of the skins were mature, so there was no reason to help it along. We just let Mother Nature take its course, and that 15 was the best thing it could do. It developed to this pretty much unaided. You know, the few tricks of the trade that we did use, of course, were keeping in a reductive environment during fermentation, you know, post fermentation. You know, we got it through ML in the spring instead of the fall. So we let it sit on itself for a few months before we encouraged MLF, which allows for a lot of maturity to go through. We put it in barrel. We did batonnage, some of those barrels, the new barrels. We did put a fair amount of this in new oak. So we used equal portions of new American and French oak on this particular vintage. So, and that was it. I mean, it really was a fairly easy, straightforward deal as far as the wine goes.
So John, back to my question. I had this glass of wine and said, "What is this?"
Mm-hmm.
What would you think? What would be your 2 or 3 choices?
Well, my first choice would be, this is Texas Summer in a glass. My second choice would be, this is the penultimate result of people who have perfected their craft. And my third choice would be damn good.
So Dad, can I ask you what qualities are you tasting that are making you ask that question? What are the notes you're getting?
Well, the Dolcettos that I've tasted have been a little sweeter, a little lighter. This has a lot of depth. You know, it has. Yep. It's almost like there's a little bit of Bordeaux in here. Mm-hmm. Like there's.
Right.
There's not. No, I mean, it's a fair question because we do blend. I mean, you know, and I'm not afraid of blending. It's actually kind of the opposite. I'm expecting no single wine to be able to stand on its own. This particular wine does. So yeah.
I didn't think that. I'm just telling you what I'm tasting.
Sure.
And you know, you have made a delicate Zinfandel that wasn't over extracted, that has some of the, you know, Primitivo, the Italian grape, and
this almost has a little bit of a light tobacco note to it.
Yeah.
Like you might get in a Bordeaux.
Yeah. Bobby, Kaylyn, weigh in on this.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Up to you, ma'am.
Okay, are you two are the chipmunks right now? No, no, please, you
guys are both good.
I remember when this first was released in the tasting room, and for us it was like, what is this grape? We don't even know what this is. It was really exciting. And I remember whenever people would come in and they would be seeking a red wine that was approachable, like perhaps if they weren't a red wine drinker already, like they didn't have their card with them or something, this would be something that I would kind of lead them to, because it was while it did have good tannic structure to it, it wasn't overtly astringent. It did have such lovely fruit components on it that it was approachable to many palates. And it's difficult for me to try to put it into another category because this was my very first experience with Dolcetto, and I don't have a lot of experience with Dolcetto from Piedmont. And so I'm excited to get into this, but I don't have the palate knowledge that y'all have with other Dolcettos and things. I've had a lot of I've had a few Texas Dolcettos, but I'm a little bit ignorant here.
Yeah, with the grid, like Kaylin said, like with the grid that we have here in, the hill country, it's we haven't experienced a lot of Dolcetto, outside, and to have that paradigm of like, what is a Dolcetto really supposed to bring to the table? Was a surprise to us. But again, going back to what you said, a great summer wine, John. This is exactly what Texas needs is something, a nice red wine for summer, which I believe that Dolcetto is, and that's what we in the tasting room and in Texas try to showcase is that, hey, like, I know that we like our reds and we don't want something really heavy. Like, hey, experience the Dolcetto, because I think that's probably up your alley. But
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sir, no, you're good.
No. I was just, referring back to the Dolcettos, which Doc is right. They're a little bit lighter and they're much more fruit forward. Doc, back to your question. So after thinking about it, I actually would leave the Bordeaux, and I would say that if I had to reminisce on this and I wasn't aware that it was Dolcetto, I would probably say it was some sort of form of blend of Syrah and Grenache.
Yeah.
Meatiness to it. There really is some of that depth that you get from those really deep, really depth from deep. That's great. The depth that you get from those brilliant Syrahs. That's to me, if I had to say this wasn't Dolcetto, that's probably where I would go. I would go in that direction. And we did have a question. So it said, what's looking particularly good there this year? Anything that might measure up to this vintage after the freeze? So first of all, let me quell everybody's I guess nervousness about the freeze that we experienced in February. Did hardly any damage on its own to the vines. There was some damage from that, yes. Most of what we're seeing in the reduction of the crop was left over from the 2019 damage because of the severe measures we had to take in 2020 to help the vines recoup. 2020 was a severe loss, and of course 2021 we're still recovering from that curve. We're still coming up. So the freeze itself in February was not. It was significant in the fact of how bad it was, but it did not really cause as much damage as we initially thought it might have. So most of the damage we're dealing with is just recuperation from the 2019 issues and the early 2020 issues. So as far as what's going to measure up for this vintage, everything that we get, we've had a really good year so far, provided we don't run into late season issues like with all this rain, like powdery mildew, things like that we're going to have to watch out for. We should see general overall quality back on par with the 2018 vintage as far as that goes. We're not going to get that super extracted year this year that 2017 gave us. We will certainly have a good year for whites and sort of some of the darker reds that sit on longer, especially if we get out of this. We're looking like we're leaving this rainy forecast now next week, and we're starting to get in. And this is the perfect time of the year for it because we're hitting veraison in the high plains in here. This is the greatest time of the year to get out of that rain and back into some sunshine and dry. That's the thing. If we can maintain that, then we are going to have some stellar fruit straight across the board. So that's the thing to watch.
John, here's a topic I want you to talk about. So in 2016, Jed harvested the fruit much greener than we would have liked it. Mm-hmm. And when it came in, it was green. It was greenish Dolcetto. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this is not going to work. Mm-hmm. And then it did. Mm-hmm. Talk about it, because that fruit was so different from what you worked with in 15 and what you did and how you and so forth.
So here's the secret. About 2 out of every 10 years, a winemaker actually earns their salary. But please don't tell my boss that. The 2016 had a unique set of challenges for sure. There were a set of circumstances that required us taking that fruit less than optimal off of the vine. And to this day, and I always feel bad about even mentioning it because Jet is he is a perfectionist, and he is a man who stands behind what he does so well that if you mention this, he's going to be like, okay, well, he's going to revisit it in his head. So this is not a criticism at all. This is just a kind of a dry.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Happen. The biggest thing that we did to counterbalance that less than optimal ripe was we actually did the delistage on the tanks. So one of the things that you can do is take away those green seeds and as many of them as possible. So every grape has 2 to 4 seeds inside of every grape. There are 100 to 120 grapes per cluster. There are multiple clusters per vine, multiple vines per acre. You get the math. It's, I don't know, it's a lot of seeds. So we have about 2%, 2 to 4% of the weight is going to be seed weight when you get down to it. So by delistaging those tanks, we're able to remove a fair portion of those underdeveloped seeds. That right there is where you're getting some of your underdeveloped flavors, a lot of them. There's a coating on that seed, the oil coating on that seed. When we start alcoholic fermentation, the alcohol hits 3% and that coating starts to break down. The alcohol hits 10%, and pretty much that coating, if you keep disturbing those seeds, you're allowing that coating to break and get more of those bitter phenolics out of there. The fully ripe seed, we don't have to worry about that as much. They're still there, but they're ripe. When they're underripe, that's when you have the bigger problem. So step 1, we remove as much of that as we possibly can. Step 2, we remove the protracted contact time with the fruit. There are underdeveloped flavors in the skin. You want certain flavors out of that skin, you get it. Yes, we did delistage in 2016. We probably delistaged more than we possibly needed to, but in this case, I don't think it hurt. Step 3 is time. You cannot rush time. That's the one factor that we cannot replicate and rush, no matter how many people advocate for micro-ox or flash détente. You cannot replicate the actual idea of time and what it does for wine.
Interesting.
All of those are tools, and those are tools that can be used, and they're tools that are good to use in certain circumstances. But like a hammer to drive a screw into a wall is probably not the right tool. So by removing the factors that we can control and allowing Mother Nature to take her course, we're able to allow that wine to develop to its fullest potential. Was it the best wine we wanted? Probably not. Was it a good wine? Yes, it turned out to be an exceptionally good wine.
Yeah, wonderful.
But it took 2 years. As you know, it took full 2 years of aging in order to see that. At 18 months, we still couldn't really see the fully mature wine. We could see we were on the track. But by 2 years, by 26 months, we were there. And that's when we used that wine. We used that as the base for the Culinaria in 2016, which, again, was an award-winning wine. So we were able to do some good things there.
Well done. Yeah.
Okay, so now that I've bored everybody.
Oh, it's amazing.
Does anybody have anything else to add to that 2015? Because I'm going to call on Joe for the first food pairings.
Well, no, I do think it's just, we tasted the 18 first, and I got the licorice, I got these dark fruit notes, and then it's just amazing to taste the 15, which is just more complex, richer, more interesting finish. It's like the licorice just matured, that spice that we're, it's a really amazing compare. It's amazing that that this is what Jet's fruit does. He does it. We see that in his cab. It's wonderful. I was thinking for food. Michael, this past weekend we had a birthday party at the winery for one of our beloved former employees, Inez Haygood, and Michael made a wonderful pork chop that I was kind of debating maybe the beef bourguignon that he does, but I thought maybe the sauce might be a little bit, maybe not overpowering, but I think the pork chop that he had this weekend would be good with this.
Yeah. I can't find any fault in that one. So Bobby, as the new wine club director, you're explicitly prohibited from mentioning duck.
Well, you know, it's not a rule. Okay.
So Bobby, what? Pick a wine and pick a dish.
Oh, I think the 15 Dolcetto, and I've got to say maybe like an eggplant Parmesan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All righty. Kaylyn, you follow that eggplant Parmesan up. So
This is tough.
Ike.
I
So
Yeah.
I want to do two.
Okay. You too.
I was thinking of really lovely, like pulled pork sandwich would be lovely with either of the
Ooh.
Dolcettos, especially if you wanted to elevate it a little bit. Put some nice cheese on there and maybe some fig jam in lieu of barbecue sauce. You can make it really delicious. But I also, yeah, this would be good. I picked up some jalapeno pimento cheese the other day from HEB. I think it'd be so good with the Saigne. That's my plan tonight.
I don't find anything wrong. You know you're part of the South when people start talking pimento cheese because I'm all on board. So Doc, what do you think? A dish and a wine.
I'd like to see a wonderful tray of Italian cheese with Italian bread, and we did an experiment. We found the right cheese for each one of these Dolcettos.
Right.
But that'd be a treat, I think. Yeah.
I first of all, for Angela, in honor of you joining us back after your hiatus of being done with us, do you like the way I'm projecting on what happened? So I want to mention the spinach and ricotta gnocchi.
Yes.
The Dolcetto, absolutely. The other thing, and there are 100 foods that'll go well with that Saigne. That Saigne is a foodie's best dream. You want a no-brainer match on just about anything. I think the only thing you probably can't match it with would be straight sriracha, and then it might break it down. But as far as that goes, the other thing that for those of you who would love a little light, sweet, and savory, a ham and fig salad, with a little bit of arugula or fresh basil, and that goes really well. So here's another one of my favorite cookbooks.
wow.
Nice.
Right. There's also the Heirloom Tomato Cookbook.
Oh boy.
So for the Saigne, fried green tomatoes with arugula pesto and cherry tomato relish.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Who doesn't love tomatoes with tomato relish?
Yes. But bacon lettuce.
Bobby, here it's time for the big reveal for next week because I got Rachel to go this, so we've got 4 weeks in a row of this particular style. So we've got the favorite ofs coming up over the next 4 weeks.
Yes.
I want to say these wines are why people say about our winery, you've got to taste the wines. I mean, forget else, but you've got to taste the wines. And that's my vote and my kudos.
But before you go, Bobby, I want to give a shout out to the Texas Wine Drinkers Facebook page because there are a lot of great people there. There are a lot of people that will not let us get away with anything. There are some people who are extremely critical. I don't agree with you, but on everything. But, for those of you who have been a few years since you've been to our winery to taste, I would invite you in to taste. For those of you who may not think that we're keeping up with Texas, it's Texas tradition, I would like to let you know that we would be happy for you to come in and taste wines with us. I know there are a few out there who were less than satisfied a few years ago when they came in. We have made some changes, but mostly I would like to invite you back because you are important, you are our neighbors, and we would love to have a second chance to make a good impression on you. So go ahead, Bobby. What do we have up for the next 4 weeks?
Completely agree. So next week, week 67, Dr. Becker's library favorites. So we have our 2015 Canada Family Cabernet Sauvignon Reserve. Then we have our 2014 Raven, and then our 2012 Estate Reserve Merlot. Now, all three of these are library releases, and we have we are extending this to our Facebook family out there to enjoy, which we've had a lot of sales on recently. So we're really excited about you joining with us next week to enjoy those wines with us and with Dr. Becker.
Absolutely. So the next 4 weeks, so next week is Doc's favorites. Then Joe will have his favorites. And then Rachel and I are choosing each a week for our favorites. So the next 4 weeks, you'll have the favorites of. And then I think we're going to get into the favorites of a few other people who might be commentators on this. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yes, I'm putting the two of you on one.
Yeah.
Not before y'all joined us.
We did,
We were trying to line up what would be in the event. So that's
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So is there any other business, Bobby? Anything you want to announce for the wine club?
Keep an eye out on your emails. We have an exciting announcement coming up. So please, as soon as the email goes out, please be careful and be mindful of what comes in that email inbox, because we've got a great event coming up. So be on the lookout for that.
All right. Okay. Doc, Joe, any final words before we sign off?
No, but wonderfully done, John. Just wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers. So everybody, thank you again for allowing us into your homes for another week. Thank you one and all for your support, and all y'all that have been out there since week one and on and off again, or all the way through. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. So cheers, good health, and a great glass of wine, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bonne santé.